and today I am here to talk about my most anticipated books of the year. So one of my goals for at least the beginning of this year, because I've realized that I can't make reading goals for the whole year because it just never sticks, is that I want to try and read more books. So I have a lot of to-read books right now that I actually physically own, and I'm trying to get through those as quickly as I can, but then I also really want to be more on top of reading new books this year because I feel like I was pretty good at the middle of last year and then it really tapered off, and I think it makes sense because there was a lot to mentally think about that I just couldn't focus on reading. So I'm hoping to do some more reading, just power through. I feel like I would before have to be I need to be fully engrossed and understanding all that. Now I'm just if I get through it, I get through it. I'm counting it. So there are quite a few books that I'm excited for to come up this year, and mainly a lot of the books that I loved last year I didn't actually know about till I read them or till they came out, so there could be so many more books too that I'm excited to see. So yeah, I'm just excited to find out what's going to be out this year. So first up, I have a book that's actually already out. This is Lore by Alexandra Bracken. So Darkest Minds, which is her first series, I did not like at all. But I just didn't like it. I thought the writing was fine, but I just didn't like the story. I could tell she was a good writer, just not the story. Second book, Passenger, her series, I loved that book. I think the character development, I think the story was all so beautifully done, and the thing that's astounding to me about her is all her books are so different. She does a dystopian, and then she goes for a time traveling, modern slash piratey, ship book, and now she's going for a Greek mythology but with a modern twist, and it just sounds so interesting. I don't always find Greek mythology books that I like just because Percy Jackson set the bar so high, but the essence of this one sounding kind of like a Hunger Games meets modern day meets Greek mythology sounds really interested. So I'm hoping to get it next time I'm in a bookstore and check it out, and if I do like it, I will definitely be doing a review of it. So if you have read it, definitely let me know what you think about it down below because I've heard phenomenal things about it. Next up, and there's really no order to this I should say too, it's not my most anticipated, it's not date wise when they come out just because I was writing them down as I thought of them, is My Contrarian Mary by the Lady Janies. So this is the next trilogy of books from the My Lady Jane series. So they did My Lady Jane, My Plain Jane, and My Calamity Jane, and I freaking love those books. I think they are so unique and so different. It's historical novels, but then they always put some type of supernatural fantasy twist to it, and their next series now is going to be all about Marys. The interesting thing though is My Contrarian Mary is going to be about, of course, our girl Queen Mary. I think her name, yeah, Queen Mary basically Reign, whoever Reign was. So Frances is going to be in it. They're going to be in a fun relationship, and we get to see that, which I feel will be great for fans of Reign, and it just sounds super interesting and super fun. The funny thing though is the next two books, both from what I've seen on Goodreads, have been changed because it was supposed to be Marie Curie, which would have been cool. That's now been changed to Mary Shelley, which is also going to be super dope, but it will be sad not to see Marie Curie, but Mary Shelley will be really cool. And then the third book was supposed to be Typhoid Mary, and they said that it's been changed now because of the pandemic, understandably, and I'm actually okay with that because she was not a great she knowingly infected people. If you've seen The Drunk History, they found out she was infecting people and we're okay, we're not gonna arrest you, but just stop cooking. And no, she continued cooking, so I'm kind of happy that they changed that. But yeah, My Contrarian Mary I'm very excited for, especially to see Mary and Frances' relationship, like I said. Then probably my most anticipated romance book, and maybe my just most anticipated in general, is Twice Shy by Sarah Hogle. I loved her debut novel, which came out last year, You Deserve Each Other. It's a lovers to enemies to back to lovers book, and it's just so cute, and it's one of those romance books that deals with real life issues of depression, family issues, and stuff like that. So I'm super excited to see what she does in her second book. I'm so sad I haven't been able to find a physical arc of it. I don't think they're making physical arcs. I really hope it's good because I love her so much, and You Deserve Each Other is my favorite romance book, period, end of sentence. Speaking of romance, I also have One Last Stop by Casey McQuiston, who is the author of Red, White, and Royal Blue. This book, it's my most anticipated. I'm putting it on the list because it's the most anticipated, but I actually just finished it. My friend gave me an arc of it to borrow, which was super awesome of her, so I'm going to do a whole review of it, like a spoiler-free review, pretty soon, actually. And I'm just really, like, I was super excited to read this book beforehand. The cover's adorable. It's her follow-up to Red, White, and Royal Blue, which I didn't finish, but not because I didn't love it, just because, like, I had a lot going on at the time that I initially started reading it, and then I just never went back to it. So, yeah, I don't want to say too much about it because I'm going to talk about it in my review, but I definitely am looking forward to that one, is all I'll say. Then there are also a few not debut, but like debut to me authors that are coming out with their second book this year that I read their first books last year and really loved. First up is The Poison Heart, which is the first book in a new series from Cinderella is Dead author, and I am really, really excited for this. I initially, when I saw the cover and the title, I thought it was going to be a Snow White retelling, which was kind of cool because I was like, all right, like no one really does Snow White. Like, everyone does Beauty and the Beast. I'm like, that's it. But then it actually said it's going to be more of a reimagining of The Secret Garden, which actually has me even more intrigued because I feel like that's not one that anyone ever really gravitates towards. So it's like this whole world of mystical, magical garden-ness, and I just think the author of Cinderella's Dead creates such beautiful, beautiful, like the way she uses magic and the way she creates her worlds is so amazing. So I'm so pumped to see this book and see what it's going to be like. Then there's also the author of You Should See Me in a Crown, which came out last year. She has a new book called Rise to the Sun that's coming out, and the cover sold me right away because I love when covers match, even if like the books aren't this like in the same, it takes place in the same world, I'm pretty sure. Like there might be like characters that like Easter eggs that pop up from You Should See Me in a Crown. But I love that the covers match, even though it's not like a like hand-to-hand like sequel to the other book, and it just sounds awesome. Like she creates such worldly characters and characters that you really relate to and root for, and I am so excited to see what her second book is going to be like. After that, I have the sequel to the second book for the Paula Santiago is how I say it, but I don't know if I'm saying, I feel like I'm not saying that right. But anyway, the second book, which is The Forest of Nightmares, I really, really love this book. I think the first book was so interesting, so cool, and Paula was such an amazing, strong character, and I loved her relationships with her mother, with her friends, with her potential crush, and I'm really excited to see what the second book is going to be like. It's one of my favorite in the Rick Riordan Presents series, so I'm really excited to see what is going to happen in the next book. Then I feel like it wouldn't be a most anticipated reads without a Minnie McGinnis book. I have said before that I love that this woman just constantly switches it up. Like none of her books are ever the same, and it's always so amazing to me that like her brain just works that way, that she can come up with so many different interesting ideas. So she has a new one coming out called The Initial Insult this year, which just sounds freaking fantastic. It's basically like this revenge story, but then like there's layers to it and not everything is what it seems. The cover looks amazing. It just sounds like, knowing her books and how like what you see on the premise, like on the surface, is never just what you get. Like there's always so many deeper layers to it. Has me so excited for the implications of this one and for what it's going to talk about, I think, in terms of like friendship, in terms of revenge, in terms of the wildness of girls, and kind of that whole premise of like Dare Me in the Wilds, and how like girls have this primal rage inside of them, and I'm really, really excited to see it. There's also this book that I saw on Goodreads and the cover so intrigued me. It's called What Big Teeth, and it was basically described as like an Addams Family meets Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children, and I was sold as soon as I as soon as I saw the cover, but then sometimes you read the description and you're like, ooh, no. But the description sounds really, really interesting. It's basically this girl that like goes back to her family, and her family's very like strange and has all these like weird things going on, and it's like her trying to figure it out and stuff, and I am so intrigued. It's by a publisher too I've never heard of before, so I'm kind of like, like, is it going to be good or not? But like, I'm definitely going to check it out. It has a high rating, but again, I don't know if that's just because not a lot of people have read it yet, but it looks super, super intriguing, so I'm definitely going to be checking it out. Then there's also this really cute YA book coming out that I want to read. It's called Perfect on Paper, and it's really cute. It's basically like what's that dude, like Chrono de Berge or whatever, you know, the guy with the nose that like does the thing and he pretends to be the guy, but he really likes the, you know, the thing. It's kind of like that in that it's like this girl who writes an advice column for her school. No one knows it's her, and then this boy who's like super obnoxious, like annoyingly, you know, like just like, you know, kind of like, not like a bully, but just like, you know, full of himself. He finds out that like she's the one that writes the advice column and kind of like blackmails her into being like, help me win this girl over, and then I won't tell that like you're the person doing the advice. And the girl that he's trying to win over is actually her ex-girlfriend. So it's a very intriguing story because I also can't tell if like her love interest is gonna be the guy I think it's gonna be, or if it's gonna be the girl, like getting her ex-girlfriend back. I'm so intrigued by that, but like not knowing like, is it gonna be the guy, is it gonna be a love triangle, and like we'll root for both and then see who she ends up with. It gives me the Half of It vibes, if you've seen that movie. It's really, really interesting, and like just the fact that like I could have two potential, like I feel like you never have love triangles with a bisexual narrator where it's like a guy and a girl, because I feel like people are so like, they're like, to be bi, like, you have to, like, if you're gonna do a bi narrative, you have to put them with a girl, or else, like, they're not gay. But it's like, that's not what bi is. Like, bi could be, like, guys 50% of the time, and girls 50% of the time. Bi could be, like, guys 95% of the time, and girls 5% of the time. It could be you like girls 99% of the time, and boys 1%. Like, it could be whatever you freaking want. So I'm just excited to see that. Then there's also Shipped, which looks super adorable. Like, just the cover, the whole premise of it looks really adorable, and I believe it comes out pretty soon, so I'm actually gonna pick that one up. But it's, yeah, basically, like, enemies to lovers again, and you know that's my bread and butter. And then last up I have It Happened One Summer by Tessa Bailey. I really like Tessa Bailey's, well, I really like her Hot and Hammered series, and by that I mean I like the first book. Second book I didn't really like, and the third book I still have to read, but I'm like super intrigued by the premise of the third book. So I like her writing and stuff, and then this book is so interesting actually because it's like described as like a Schitt's Creek romance. So it's like this like super wealthy heiress who like loses her money. I don't know if she's cut off or if like her family loses the money, but like she has to go now and work and like actually make a living, and of course like there's a guy there that's like, you know, like, oh my gosh, like, girl, you're a mess, and they fall for each other, and it just sounds super cute and super interesting, and I'm really excited for it. So yeah, I think my main goals this year are just to try and read more diverse, both in terms of like different genres, and then also, you know, making sure I have a lot of different authors. I found this really great Instagram page that I think is Bookstagram Represent is what it's called. I'll leave a link to it down below. But like they every month will do like, you know, get together like, oh, like these are the Latinx books coming out next year. These are the Asian Represents books coming out this month. Like they'll really like find a particular thing and get them all together. Like that's how I found Had Me at Ola last year and stuff like that, so I'm really, really excited. So if there's any books that you're looking forward to, please feel free to leave them in the comments down below. And if you have read any of these books, I don't know when you're watching this, but if you've read any of these books, please feel free to leave your thoughts about them in the comments. Also make sure this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!